And joining us is visiting fellow at the US Studies Centre and Sky News contributor Bruce Wolpe. Bruce, yes, some breaking news. Of course, the US added 266,000 jobs last month, a strong gain that offered a counterpoint to renewed anxieties over trade and a weakening global economy.
That's exactly right, Janie, and Tim, good morning to you. And the president is saying, this is my ball game now. You really want to impeach me under these economic conditions? You impeach me, you remove me. The markets are going to tank, the economy will tank, and we're going to have an election in November anyway. So what are you doing? And it's a very strong tactical position for the president to be in at this time, under immense pressure. The House, as you've seen and as the setup piece showed, is moving relentlessly towards impeachment. There could be votes on articles of impeachment in the House Judiciary Committee in this coming week, and then in the full House before Christmas. But the president is saying, I'm a successful president. Why are you messing with me?
And he's also saying, come on, I want a big trial.
He does want a big trial. You know, Tim, he loves these televised moments, meeting Kim Jong-un, meeting Putin, Saudi Arabia, leaders around the world. He loves the big stage. And an impeachment trial in the United States Senate is the biggest constitutional stage in the United States. And I think part of him relishes the opportunity to go before the Senate, face his accusers, stare them down, take them apart. I think, though, there will be he will be under oath, and I think there are a lot of lawyers around him, just as they did when the question was, will I meet Robert Mueller and talk to him about the Russia investigation under oath? They ultimately decided the safest course was not to do it. As things stand now, he will be acquitted. The votes are there. No Republican has broken with him. So is it better to be safe than sorry? But this opportunity for the most dramatic television moment in U.S. Senate history, that still looms in his head.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last impeachment process was 21 years ago, wasn't it, when the House approved 2 articles against the then President Bill Clinton? 21 years.
That's true. Clinton did not testify before the Senate, but still, an impeachment trial, at the end of the day, you are an impeached president. Only the second, at Clinton's time, this would be the 3rd president in history. This would be the 2nd impeachment in 21 years, as you said, Janie. So it is a stain on the presidency, and I think that's something that Trump doesn't like. He talks about his legacy and not wanting this to distract from what he's doing. But it becomes a part of it. But nevertheless, Trump is a fighter. He wants to win, and that's what he's going to try and do.
And the bottom line is, we've got just under a year to go, I know, but despite the impeachment, the Democrats at the moment, they couldn't beat time with a stick.
They have not found their candidate. A lot of people wonder, are the Democrats moving too far to the left and so forth, and that may yet prove true. From my soundings, the Democrats still want to find that candidate who can beat Trump and has the best chance of beating Trump, and then will coalesce around them. But, Tim, as you've been saying, there are a dozen in the field or more, and they are dividing the field. And so can they unite around someone? And you're coming up on primaries, and it's quite possible that 4 different candidates will win the first 4 primaries in Iowa, and then go in February, and then go into Super Tuesday with a dozen states voting and split that field too. And, you know, in 2016, Republicans split the field, Trump wins. In 2020, do Democrats split the field and someone dramatically on the left able to pick up the pieces and go, and then lose in the coming November? That is the dilemma the Democrats face.
Yeah, big dilemma indeed, and also very interesting this week where we saw Kamala Harris pulling out, and people are alluding to her being the vice president. What do you think? I mean, we saw that recent tweet between her and Donald Trump as well this week.
When you look for balance on the ticket, Janie, you know, who she sort of ticks all the boxes. A woman, a senator, a woman of color. And that would be historic, the first woman vice president of the United States. And so she could be quite added, and someone was attorney general in the state of California. So she could be quite additive to the Democratic nominee. So when you think about a Joe Biden, well, Kamala Harris looks pretty good. Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris looks pretty good. So that's why she will be, I think her speed dial will be high on the list of the presidential candidates.
2 worrying and deadly incidents this week, both at Pearl Harbor and now in Florida at the naval base.
They seem unrelated, but it is extremely distressing. Florida, of course, has been the scene of a lot of gun violence. There was the school shooting in Parkland. This is a military base. The early reports are it's a Saudi national, a member of the Saudi armed forces who was training in the United States. Very close military ties between America and Saudi Arabia. So a lot of questions to answer. But again, the proliferation of guns, anytime, any place, any city, any target, are vulnerable. And unfortunately, on many more weekends to come, we'll be reporting on gun violence in America.
Let's get to NATO. We had the 70th NATO summit this week. Donald Trump was mocked by his peers behind his back. He then cancelled the news conference and left early. What do you think, Bruce, are our expectations of our leaders? I mean, we as employers and employees, we have to address moral codes and so forth, but it's certainly an issue that's affecting these leaders as well. We've got to look at that.
Janie, I think you're exactly right. People do expect more from leaders, and I think people are frankly disappointed when you see a president diss a whole bunch of leaders in previous NATO summits, and then when the leaders, it's sort of like being in school, right, and you're gossiping about the other kid behind their back, and it's caught on videotape and becomes a worldwide phenomenon. So people are worried about the disarray inside NATO, and there's one beneficiary of that, Putin and Russia. China and Iran also have some advantages that come from it. But I do think underneath, if you look at the hard work of NATO in this 70th year of its existence, there was good work on Poland, good work on the Baltics. So below the leader level, the degree of cooperation on military intelligence and security is absolutely there. But it's hidden behind this stage drama every time the leaders get together. Well, who's going to kick over a table? And it's not good for stability in the West and being strong at a time of uncertainty.
Bruce, it's always good to talk to you. Our weekly dose of US politics and all things going on in America.
You're very brave.
From where we're looking now, it looks like your ferry's just about to roll in. So we'll catch you next week.
We'll catch you next week in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce.